Have you ever checked your bank statement and wondered, where did all my money go this month? You scroll through the charges and there they are, tiny, familiar amounts. $9.99 here, $4.99 there, maybe $14.99 for that streaming service you swore you'd cancel last year. Each one feels harmless, but together they tell a quiet, powerful story. A story of how subscriptions have become one of the sneakiest drains on personal wealth in the modern economy. Let's talk about it. The subscription model has completely changed how we spend money. In the 1990s, you bought something once and owned it. Today, that same product or service is often wrapped inside a monthly or yearly plan. Movies? Netflix. Music? Spotify. Software? Adobe, Microsoft 365. Even razors, coffee, and pet food arrive in recurring boxes. According to a 2023 report by UBS, the global subscription economy is projected to exceed $1.5 trillion by 2025. That's almost double what it was in 2020. What's driving this? Convenience, predictability, and, let's be honest, a bit of psychological manipulation. See, subscriptions are designed to feel small. They bypass the pain of one big purchase by slicing it into easy, forgettable payments. $12.99 a month sounds effortless compared to $156 a year. And companies know this. They've studied how our brains respond to money friction. A single $100 charge triggers a moment of reflection, but 10 $10 charges barely register. It's the digital equivalent of financial anesthesia. Let's look at how this plays out in real life. Imagine you subscribe to 5 services, a couple of streaming platforms, a cloud storage plan, a gym membership, and maybe a few app upgrades. Each one costs around $10 to $20 a month. No big deal, right? That's roughly $75 a month. Over a year, it's $900. And over 10 years, without price hikes or add-ons, that's $9,000 quietly leaving your pocket. Now multiply that by the average household. A 2022 survey by C+R Research found that the typical American spends $219 per month on subscriptions. That's more than $2,600 a year. And most people underestimate their total by nearly 70% when asked to guess. That's the first red flag. We're losing track of what we're paying for. Part of the problem is the psychology of set and forget. Subscriptions don't ask for permission every month. They just keep running in the background, siphoning small amounts while we focus on bigger things. It's like a financial leak you can't hear. You only notice it when the bucket's empty. Companies rely on this. They make cancellation just inconvenient enough that you'll postpone it. Hidden buttons, multiple steps, or a final "are you sure" pop-up that triggers guilt. And it works. A study from the University of Chicago found that people delay canceling by an average of 2 billing cycles after deciding they should. That procrastination alone costs U.S. consumers billions each year. Now, not all subscriptions are bad. Some genuinely add value. A cloud backup might protect your data. A gym membership might boost your health. And a language app could open doors to new opportunities. The problem arises when convenience turns into clutter. Think about how many services you signed up for during a free trial. You told yourself, "I'll cancel before it charges." Then life got busy. 30 days later, the charge hit, and now it's been 6 months. The average person, according to a 2023 Bankrate study, is currently signed up for 7 different subscriptions, many of which they rarely use. We've entered what some economists call subscription inflation. Companies raise prices subtly, $1 here, $2 there, because they know you won't notice. Netflix, for example, has increased its standard plan price 6 times since 2014. Most users stayed. Why? Because the friction of canceling feels greater than the small price hike. This is what behavioral economists call status quo bias, our natural tendency to stick with what's already in place. Let's zoom out to the bigger picture. The subscription model doesn't just affect individuals. It's reshaping entire industries and how wealth moves through the economy. When you buy a product once, you build ownership. You can resell it, reuse it, or simply stop spending. But when you subscribe, you rent your access indefinitely. Stop paying, and it disappears. This shift from ownership to access transfers power from consumers to corporations. Adobe used to sell Photoshop for a one-time cost of around $700. Now you pay around $20 a month for one app or $55 for the full suite. That's $660 per year just to use something that once came with a permanent license. Multiply that by millions of users, and you get predictable, recurring revenue for the company and perpetual dependence for the consumer. It's brilliant business strategy, but from a personal finance standpoint, it's a slow bleed. Another subtle danger is how subscriptions reshape our perception of value. When you pay monthly, you're less likely to evaluate cost against actual usage. You think, that's only 10 bucks. But if you only use that app twice a month, that's $5 per use, hardly efficient. Compare that to paying per use for what you actually need, and you might discover that ownership or a la carte spending is cheaper in the long run. It's like a gym membership that costs $50 a month. If you go 20 times, that's $2.50 per visit. Great value. But if you only go twice, you're paying $25 per workout, and that's before you count the cost of unused months. There's also something deeper happening beneath the numbers. Subscriptions change how we experience satisfaction. When we own something, we feel completion. When we subscribe, we're always in the middle of a transaction. There's no finish line. That constant open loop keeps us spending. It's a business model built on emotional continuity, always one more season, one more update, one more feature. The irony, we think we're simplifying our lives, but we're actually multiplying our commitments. Let's talk about the compound effect of subscriptions on long-term wealth. $50 a month doesn't sound like much, but if you invested that instead, earning an average 7% annual return, you'd have about $60,000 after 30 years. Now imagine redirecting $200 a month from unused subscriptions. That's roughly $240,000 over 3 decades. That's the price of convenience, $250,000 traded for services you might not even remember signing up for. This is the quiet erosion of net worth happening in millions of households. So, how do we fix it? It starts with awareness. Take an hour this week to audit your recurring charges. Look at your bank and card statements from the last 90 days. Write down every automatic payment. Most people are shocked by what they find. Duplicate services, forgotten apps, free trials that turned into paid plans. It's like finding loose change in your couch, except this time it's real money. Once you know where it's going, you can start making intentional decisions. Ask yourself 3 questions. Do I use this enough to justify the cost? Does it improve my life in a measurable way? And if I canceled it today, would I actually miss it? If the answer is no, cancel it immediately. Don't delay. Remember that University of Chicago study, 2 billing cycles of procrastination equals wasted money. Another powerful tactic is subscription batching. Instead of letting services renew automatically, create one renewal date each year for your major subscriptions. When that date arrives, you decide renew or cancel. This brings back the sense of choice that automatic billing quietly removes. You can also use dedicated apps that track subscriptions, but be careful, some of those are subscription-based too. It's almost poetic, right? A subscription to manage subscriptions. Let's look at some modern examples of how companies use psychology to keep you subscribed. Streaming platforms often release shows 1 episode at a time. Why? Because if they drop everything at once, you could binge and cancel. By spacing it out, they keep you paying month after month. Fitness apps often gamify commitment with streaks and badges. Canceling feels like losing progress. That's loss aversion, a powerful behavioral trigger. And software companies bundle features you don't need, so you feel like you're getting more value than you actually use. That's the illusion of completion, another subtle psychological hook. The subscription economy is not going away. In fact, it's expanding into new territories. Automakers like BMW and Mercedes have experimented with subscription-based features, heated seats, advanced driving modes, or even performance upgrades. You buy the car but still pay monthly to unlock certain functions. That's not science fiction, it's already happening. In 2023, BMW tested an $18 per month charge for heated seats in some regions. Consumers pushed back, but the idea is clear. Subscriptions are becoming the default way companies monetize convenience. Even your refrigerator might one day have a subscription for automatic grocery restocking. It sounds futuristic, but it's part of a larger shift called everything as a service. So, what's the takeaway? Subscriptions aren't evil, they're tools, but like any tool, misuse can cause damage. The key is balance, knowing which ones truly serve you and which ones quietly serve someone else's profit margins. If you intentionally choose subscriptions that add clear value, they can simplify your life. But when they multiply without oversight, they become small leaks that eventually sink the ship. Remember, financial freedom isn't just about earning more, it's about controlling the outflow, especially the invisible kind. So, let's put this into perspective with a real-world example. Meet Alex. He's 32, works in marketing, and lives in a mid-sized city. He's pretty good with money, saves a little each month, pays bills on time, no major debt. But when he checked his statements, he found 14 active subscriptions, 2 streaming services, 3 news apps, a meditation app, 2 cloud storage plans, a premium dating app he no longer uses, and even a forgotten Game Pass from last year. Total monthly cost? $178. When he canceled half of them, services he hadn't touched in months, he freed up nearly $900 in 6 months. He used that money to start an emergency fund. Within a year, he had $2,000 saved, money that used to vanish into digital autopay. That's the power of awareness. Now imagine that on a national scale. If 100 million adults in the US each canceled just $10 a month in unused subscriptions, that's $12 billion a year redirected into savings, investments, or debt repayment. That's massive economic potential, money that could strengthen households instead of padding corporate balance sheets. But let's be fair, companies use subscriptions because they offer stability. Predictable revenue helps them innovate, hire, and provide consistent service. It's not inherently exploitative, it's just strategically designed. The responsibility falls on us as consumers to engage consciously. We can't blame a system for doing what it's designed to do, but we can choose how we participate in it. If you want to regain control, here's a simple mental shift. Every subscription isn't just a charge, it's a micro-commitment. So before you sign up, ask, am I willing to make this commitment month after month? Would I still buy it if I had to pay the full annual cost up front? If not, it's probably not worth it. Think about the irony of the modern financial world. We chase passive income, but we also accumulate passive expenses. We automate our earnings, but also our spending. And automation without awareness leads to erosion. The average household might not feel it month to month, but over time, it's the difference between financial freedom and financial fatigue. So take back control. Audit your subscriptions, cancel the ones that don't serve you, and redirect that money towards something that compounds in your favor: investments, savings, or even experiences that truly enrich your life. Because wealth isn't built by what you earn, it's preserved by what you keep. And what you keep depends on what you consciously choose to spend on. If this message resonates with you and you want more insights on how to make your money work smarter, subscribe to Tass's Money, because financial awareness isn't a one-time decision, it's a lifestyle. In the end, the subscription economy is a mirror of our habits. It reflects our desire for convenience, entertainment, and control. But it also exposes our blind spots, the small leaks we ignore until the bucket runs dry. So the next time you see that $9.99 charge, pause for a second. Ask yourself, am I really using this? Is this helping me build the life I want? Because the true cost of a subscription isn't measured in dollars, it's measured in attention, awareness, and opportunity. And once you take those back, your wealth begins to grow again, quietly, steadily, and intentionally.